Hello everyone, my name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Ghosted. I know it's a day late, but happy Thanksgiving everyone. I hope you had a great day. And so today, like I said, I'm going to give you my review of Ghosted. This was a movie I missed when it came out. I didn't have Apple TV at the time, and I saw the trailers for it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I never really heard anything about it. And so the other day I was just wanting to watch something. I didn't really care too much what it was. I just wanted to watch something. I was scrolling on Apple TV because I was just watching the new Monarch show, and this caught my eye, and I was like, you know what? I'll finally give it a shot. But before I go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. Maybe I was just in the right mood for this movie, but I had a decent time. I don't think this movie is bad, which kind of surprises me because I was just interested to see what the Rotten Tomatoes score was before I filmed this review, and it was like a 25, something like that from critics, and so I was honestly really surprised that it was that low. Now, I'm not saying this is any kind of like masterpiece or is like any kind of like must-see movie, but I didn't think it was that bad. I thought more critics would at least say it's fine, because that's kind of where I land on this film. I think it's fine. And I know that's not the highest praise, but I think this is a completely serviceable movie. It's just a pretty standard action, comedy, romance movie. You know, you have Chris Evans, who's playing a farmer who falls head over heels in love with this girl played by Ana de Armas, and he eventually finds out that she is a CIA secret agent, and he kind of gets mixed up in this adventure. I think it's an interesting premise, and really that's all you need to know about this film. That's about as deep as it gets in terms of the story and really of the characters. There's a character that does, learn a lesson throughout the movie. There's character development there. However, it's not necessarily any kinds of subtle. Like, all of the characters are pretty simple. You can sum them up in like a sentence. Some you could even sum up in like a single word. And there's some small characters here and there throughout this film that don't really work for me. They seem like they're trying way too hard to kind of give them like quippy lines, even though they just like pop up in a scene. And that just didn't really work for me. It kind of pulled me out of the film a little bit. Some of those characters, they appeared in more than just one scene, like some of the other ones I've complained about. But some of those were kind of like the family of Chris Evans' character. They were supposed to be like funny and relatable, and it just didn't really work for me. They didn't really hit either one of those. I didn't really think they were that funny. Didn't really think they were that relatable. So I don't really think it was that good of a script overall. It dragged in the second act, and also it dragged again at the beginning of the third act. Those were two times where I kind of started to feel myself getting a little bored. Also, in terms of the script, there were a few cameos here in this film. There's, like 4 or 5 cameos throughout this film that is just kind of like oh, hey, I know that person. I recognize them from this. And it has a couple of laughs there. There's these actors that and they're kind of doing some funny stuff like right after another. That gets some laughs. But again, in terms of a script structure, maybe it's a little bit weak. It's mostly relying on you knowing these actors, knowing where they're from, and just seeing them act a little silly. As far as laughs go, though, I would say that Chris Evans delivers the most for me. I think he was the best part of the movie. I wasn't sure at the beginning how they were going to convince me that Chris Evans isn't like the really cool, strong action hero of this story, but I think they do it pretty well. Most of it's from his performance. I really love Chris Evans. He's good in everything, and he's good here. He gives like a really fun performance, and it's different from what you're kind of used to seeing. I love seeing him get to do these different kinds of characters, like here, like in Knives Out, like in The Gray Man. I think that's really fun. He also had some really good chemistry with Ana de Armas. I think they worked really, really well together. And that's one reason why I think this film works, their chemistry. You believe that they could be a couple, and there's a little date montage there at the beginning after they're kind of like meet cute, and like it, I mean, honestly, it's quite delightful. And I think Ana de Armas did good here. She's good and convincing as a secret agent in this film. She does a really good job with the physicality of the action that they ask her to do. For me, I bought it, and I think Ana de Armas does a really good job in action films. I'd like to see her maybe try her hand at a comic book film. I know a lot of people have said she'd make a good Catwoman, and I think she would. There's no other good actors in this film, like Adrian Brody as one of the villains. However, there's really not much to his character. He does a good job with what he's given. It's just, he's not really given much. It's pretty much just a standard action movie villain. And there's not really anything that stands out about the rest of the characters. Like I said, standard across the board, just about. It's just standard side characters in a standard action comedy film. The action here in this film was fine. Like I've been saying, I mean, it's the best way to describe it. A lot of the action here is standard. There's nothing really bad about the action. There's not like there's a lot of bad blocking or choreography. It's not completely cut up, but there's nothing like really stand out. Like it's nothing on like the level of like John Wick or something like that. So it's just average. They have some cool settings throughout this film. Like I think the setting in the third act, it was an interesting looking place to set a kind of third act action finale. And there's a little gimmick to it that I think is pretty cool. But again, relatively average, relatively standard. It's nothing we haven't seen before. There's some CGI here that kind of stands out to me in the wrong way. Like, there's a few times where they're driving a car, they're sitting, they're having a conversation, and you can just tell, it's like, yeah, they're sitting with a green screen out behind them. There's also a few times where they walk out into like a big open space, and you can tell they're definitely on a sound stage. There's a few things like that that kind of pull me out. It just breaks immersion a little bit, but kind of like the rest of the film, there's nothing about the CGI or anything like that that's like completely offensively bad. It's just, some of it's not that great, but most of it is just fine. I think that's the perfect word for this film, is that it's fine. With the holidays coming up, if you're hanging out with your family and you just want something to throw on that, just everybody can kind of half watch, while you're having conversations, while you're finishing cleaning up the kitchen from a dinner or something like that, this is a good movie to throw on. I think this will be something that, at least at a baseline, is entertaining enough for kind of the whole family. Overall, I would say it's fine. It's a decent enough action, comedy, romance film. Standard across the board. Doesn't do anything new. Doesn't do anything to blow your socks off. We got some good and fun performances from Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. Doesn't really have any depth or any huge standout moments, but I still enjoyed my time with it. I think I'd give it a 3 out of 5 stars. So that's it. That's my review for Ghosted. Have you seen this film? Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Since we just had Thanksgiving, tell me in the comment section down below what your favorite Thanksgiving food is. I think mine is mac and cheese. That's probably my favorite food just any time of the year, but I'm always looking forward to that on Thanksgiving. Like I said, I hope you guys had a great time. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. You can follow me on social media pretty much anywhere @CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.